That guy on bass here, you can call me Chris, and today we are taking a look at a bass that maybe you've never heard of, my Godin Passion RG4. So for a few years now, I've had people coming up to me and asking, Chris, what is the deal with this absolutely gorgeous Canadian-made natural finish bass that we keep seeing on all of your Instagram posts and on stage? So I figured it's about time I probably do a video about this bass. Cast your mind back to 2021, where the lovely people at Godin got in touch with me and offered to send me one of these basses just to have a play around, get a bit of an impression of, and use it for a couple of shows. Naturally, I agreed, and since then, this bass has been my main bass for pretty much everything I've needed to do as a working musician. I've used this for weddings, corporate gigs, events, tours with bands, social media videos, recording work. I've even used this bass internationally for a couple of gigs, and it has genuinely never, ever let me down. I love this bass so much. This is technically an ad for the bass, as Godin have sent me this. However, they haven't seen this video before I've chosen to release it, and all of these opinions are of course my own. And finally, when you look at the production version of this bass, you'll see that it comes with this lovely taut pickguard, which I still have and I still really like, but there's just something about this bass without the pickguard on. I just love it. It gives me like 80s super strat vibes. Like it just, the finish is so nice. But let's jump into some specs. So the Godin RG4 has this absolutely delightful swamp ash top, and on the back we've got a 5-piece chambered Canadian red cedar body. Then we've got a hardtail bridge that you can choose to string either straight up or you can go through the body, which I think gives just a little bit of extra sustain. Seymour Duncan 1/4 pounder PJ pickups. We've got a volume, a tone, and a 4-way toggle, which we'll get to in just a second. And then we have a maple neck and a rosewood fretboard with 20 nice big fat jumbo frets. Matching headstock too, and if I just turn the bass around, like I said, we've got this awesome maple neck, which is super comfy. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. I'd describe it as closer to a jazz neck than a P neck. It's just a super comfy bass. That's the only way I can describe it. Speaking of this 4-way toggle, we've got the bridge soloed, we've got the neck and the bridge in parallel, we've then got the neck and the bridge in series, and then finally we have just the neck pickup on its own. Let's have a quick listen and see how those pickups sound. So let's move on to some pros and cons about the RG4. Funnily enough for me, all of the pros and cons of this bass are found in the pickups themselves. There's something great about a PJ bass when you need to cover such a large range of sounds like I do for work. Having access to a PJ bass grants you the ability to cover a wide range of sounds, anything from vintage style P bass tones all the way through to contemporary bright tones, using both of those pickups in parallel, similar to a jazz bass. But this is where the problem arises, because despite the fact that this bass can cover the sonic territory of a P bass and a J bass, it doesn't quite nail it when compared to each of those basses in isolation. You'll find the P pickup is just not quite mid-rangey enough compared to a standalone P pickup. And then in the J position, it just doesn't have that perfect scoop and brightness that you get from a jazz bass. Don't get me wrong, it's really close, and you might actually find that you prefer the sound. For me, I actually quite like the sound of both of these pickups in parallel, similar to a jazz bass. You'll find it's pretty close, but there's just this little low-mid bump, I think, coming from the P pickup that makes it just a little bit different to a J bass, but still a super usable and really great sound. Furthermore, the pickups in this bass are the infamous, and in my opinion amazing, Seymour Duncan quarter-pounder pickups, which are very hot and a very scooped pickup for a bass. What this means is if you're playing anything modern, or you're playing with a pick, or you want any sort of aggression in your tone, this is absolutely fantastic at covering that. What it does struggle with is the more vintage and mellow sounds that other basses tend to excel in. For me especially, I find the quarter pounder P pickup to be a bit scooped and very hot. So sometimes when you're chasing down that traditional P bass sound, this can be a little bit lacking, as you'll find the mid-range is just sat in a slightly different position than a traditional P bass pickup. That being said, the P pickup on this bass is still an absolute monster. Bass handles drive so well, it's super punchy, it sits in a mix fantastically. A further con against the Godin is I just don't think anyone has ever heard of this bass. I have never seen another person in the wild tell me about this bass, tell me they've got one, tell me they've played them, which is a real shame, as seriously, you are sleeping on this bass. This is an amazing bass in terms of feel, sound. It's got a great weight to it. The craftsmanship is absolutely incredible. And overall, this is still my favorite bass in my collection. I use it all the time in my job as a working musician, anything from weddings to metal band shows, content and everything in between. So thus concludes my thoughts on the Godin RG4. Like I said, I absolutely love this bass and I've used this daily and weekly since the second it arrived. I absolutely love this bass and it is still my favourite bass in my collection. If you've heard of this bass before, either through me or through someone else, or you've had a chance to play one or own one, please do let me know down below. More people need to be talking about not just this bass, but Godin as a builder overall. They make some exceptionally high quality instruments. As always, I've been that guy on bass. If you like the video, please give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me out quite a lot. Leave a comment down below. I've got a podcast as well with my good friend Johnny Dibble. If you don't know me through that, please do check check it out. I think you'll really like it. And that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one.